2 weeks ago, my youngest daughter had the flu. This week, my oldest daughter had the flu. And last night, we had this huge cold front that came through. Yesterday morning, I woke up and I was so stopped up. I think I even ran a little low-grade fever for a little bit, but I just kept on going and doing what I know needs to be done. So I figured today, since I'm still really stopped up, I would demonstrate how different medicines affect your singing voice. I've picked 2 different songs here. Ferris Lord Jesus, I'll sing a little bit of that. So I can do a little bit of pop styling and kind of what you would sing in church. And then Caronome, because I have really good muscle memory on that song. And that'll show you a little bit of the classical styling. My professor in college used to always tell us that if you can breathe, you can sing. But that doesn't mean you're always going to sing at your best. Remember, you have a lot of swelling of muscle tissue. So when you look at the things that won't be the same, you're not going to have the same stamina. You're not going to have clear articulation. You're not going to have the same flexibility in your runs, your melismatic passages as you normally would. You're not going to have the same wonderful resonance. Remember, your nasal cavity is blocked. It's clogged with phlegm. So your sound isn't going to be able to bounce around in there and shoot out to your audience and have this huge sound. And you're also not going to have the depth of sound that you would normally have. I think the biggest issue for me when I'm sick is that I don't have the same response time. So when I go to sing something, it may be a split second before it actually comes out of my mouth. And that can be quite annoying. So when you're singing when you're sick, you need to make sure that you focus on your technique. Remember your core, okay? That's where your muscle is. That's where your support is. Use that. Remember that everything from the shoulders and higher needs to be completely relaxed. The tendency when you're sick is to overcompensate for things that you don't feel or they don't feel right. And then we tend to use way too many neck muscles and shoulder muscles, and that's where we get into the tension and the problems that you would normally hear when you're sick and trying to sing. Disclaimer, last night I did take an Allegra. I just couldn't take it anymore. I really don't like taking antihistamines, but I had to, so I took an Allegra. The first thing you always want to do is warm up. And that's one of my biggest mistakes on days that I have a ton of lessons that I'm teaching or I'm not feeling it. I may not do a complete warm up, and that's really not the best thing to do. So do some sort of small warm up first. One really cool thing about a good warm-up is that it will help you to break up the phlegm and mucus in your nasal cavity and help you open up just a little bit. Sometimes not much, but it should be just enough to help you out. Okay, so here is Ferris Lord Jesus. I had Allegra last night, and I haven't had anything since then. Okay. So I really need to think about my core. I think everything up and over. Ferris Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature. Whew. Okay, so that's really hard. I am super stopped up today. Let me try it in like a pop styling. Ferris Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature. Okay, so it's still hard. I'm still having to think about, for the pop styling, smiling quite a bit and getting everything more forward. Whew. So let's look at Caronome. I want to sing this little section here that has some higher notes in it. And to show you how, if you make sure to keep going up and over and use your support here, you should be able to sing on pitch with a good sound. So let's see what happens. Whew. Well, that was not a good start. Okay. So that was way harder than it should have been. And just after that little bit, I could already feel some tension right in here. So I'm going to go rinse my nose with the NeilMed nasal rinse. And I'm going to wait about 30 minutes and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to do those again. I have now rinsed my nasal cavity and I've given it about 30 minutes. And so now I'm going to sing those two excerpts again. So here we go. Here's the fairest Lord Jesus excerpt. Fairest Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature. And then I'm going to sing it in a pop styling. Excuse me. Oh, kind of loosened everything up. Fairest Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature. So you can hear there is a difference in the sound. Yes, I'm still kind of stopped up. There it goes. I can feel it again. But I have a little more resonance, and especially for the way it feels to me, it's a lot easier to get the notes out, to get the words out. So now let's look over at caro nome and see the difference after the nasal rinse. So there's still a little bit of difficulty. I didn't feel as much tension here. As soon as I'm done with that little section, I didn't feel all the tension that I felt in here. It's just a lot easier to get the notes out, and it's a lot easier to push everything out this way. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Musinex DM, and the affiliate link for that is down below if you want to see which one I used. And I'm going to come back in about 30 minutes to an hour after it's kicked in, and we're going to see the difference after that. So I took a Musinex DM and I drank like 2 bottles of water, and I waited about an hour, and I feel so much better. I don't feel as puffy. My face still feels a little puffy, but as far as my nasal passage and my voice, it feels so much better. Still doesn't feel 100%, but it feels a lot better. I do still have pressure on this ear, so after this, I'm going to end up taking some pseudoephedrine. But that's also very drying. So let's get to Fairest Lord Jesus. Let's hear what I sound like as if I were just singing in church. Fairest Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature. So to me, it feels much smoother and much easier to sing. I don't feel like I have to force anything or exert more energy than I would normally need to exert. I'm still using my core for support and trying to keep everything from my shoulder and above as relaxed as possible. So now I'm going to sing that in more of a pop styling. Fairest Lord Jesus, ruler of all nature. That even feels a little better, a little easier, a little smoother. and hopefully you can tell a difference in the voice. If not, okay. So let's look at the Caronome excerpt. Now, just because I've taken a guaifenesin type medicine, Musinex DM, or it could be a Robitussin DM, and I've also taken an allergy medicine and drank a ton of water, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be back at 100%, even though it feels a little better. So I need to remember that for me, I'm not going to have the breath support, or the lung capacity that I normally would to get through phrases. So I'm going to have to add an extra breath mark in this section, which I didn't before, probably should have. Remember, in classical styling, you always want to focus on your technique. So your support is here. Rib cage is out, expanded so that your lungs can move freely. Everything from your shoulders and up is very, very relaxed. So let's do this. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments. Thank you so much.